Hey guys, back with the rehash, and we got to talk about Stan Lee. By now you've heard that Stan Lee has died. He was 95, so obviously this isn't a massive shock. He's had a great, full, amazing life. It's been 1 year now since his dear wife of 70 years, Joan. You know, you kind of hear that a lot. Old people that have been married for many years, they kind of die very close to each other, and you know, who knows, maybe it's just after 70 years it's almost impossible to live without that person, quite literally. But Stan had an amazing life, and I think we all know the highlights. You know, he came up with Spider-Man, the Hulk, X-Men, all of these characters, this amazing universe of characters. He came up with them. Him and the artist Jack Kirby, they kind of invented these characters, and they put together this incredible universe of characters. And these characters have been going, you know, since the 1940s, the 1950s, somewhere there. I'm not sure if you know the story of how Stan Lee went on this journey that's kind of taken Marvel to the place that it's at now. And it's this: he was tasked with writing a story about a team of superheroes, and that was going to be the Fantastic Four. He knew the kind of writing that he was doing at the time was very one-dimensional, very flat, very typical for the time, and he was very frustrated by this. You know, he didn't want to do it. He was like so frustrated. And he went home to his wife, Joan, and he said to her, "This is what I would love to do. I would love to be able to write a story about this team of superheroes that's a family that has complex problems, real life problems. You know, they have real life fears and hopes and dreams, and they're not just one-dimensional, silly people in costumes. You know, they have real lives and real thoughts and real emotion." And he said, "There's no ways they'll allow it. There's no ways they'll accept it if I do it." And Joan said to him, "You know what? Write it, and if they fire you, you should quit anyway. You know, like, you can do what you love somewhere else, but you got to write this story. So write it the way you want to write it." And so he did. And what do you know? Like, it actually struck a chord, and the Fantastic Four was born. And from there, they started to expand this universe. think, you know, what was the first sort of time that I became aware of Stan Lee? And I think it has to be Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man was always the first for me, and that's the one that I connected with most first. That book was just fantastic. And then after Spider-Man, I really started enjoying the X-Men. X-Men are so zany and crazy and so different, and there's characters with different, you know, different color skin and pointy ears, and they can, you know, disappear and reappear, and they can move things with their minds. All the things that you just think would be so awesome in real life, you know. And that was the X-Men. The X-Men was like this limitless space of imagination, and I really loved that. I really loved them for that. But I think aside from just seeing the name Stan Lee, I didn't really know much about him when I was a teenager. I didn't really know who this man was. I just knew he's created all these amazing things, and look at this, his name is on everything. Like, did he create all of these? But a few years later, I found this TV series called Who Wants to Be a Superhero. It was Stan Lee's TV show, but it was like a reality show where people would come up with a character, they would come up with a persona, and they'd have their little costume that they made themselves. This is before I even knew that cosplay was even a thing, but these guys were cosplaying, so they were inventing a character, and then it was like an Idols or an America's Got Talent kind of show where they selected a group of 10 of these superhero wannabes, and the one who won was going to get their own movie on the Sci-Fi Channel and their own book written by Stan Lee. He was kind of the judge, you know, he was the ultimate judge, and he set all the challenges for them each week, and they would have to go and save a woman trapped on the other side of a tall building, and they would have to do all these sort of challenges. And it was all really silly and light-hearted and super fun. But that was the first time that I really kind of saw a glimpse of like what an awesome man Stan Lee was. You just see his enthusiasm for life and his passion for the world of comics and the world of superheroes. You just see it coming off the screen so much, and just how kind he is to everybody. Like, he's so kind to even the people who are really lame or disrespectful or anything like that. He's just so kind to them all, and he's like this fantastic grandfather figure, and he reminds me a lot of my grandfather. They're the same generation, same sort of age group, and they just had a quality, man. That generation's just, they're the good ones, man. They are the good ones. But yeah, so Who Wants to Be a Superhero? If you find that anywhere, you need to get it and you need to watch it. It's really fun, it's really silly, but you just get to see so much of Stan Lee and just the kind of person he is, you know. My life has been so much more rich and enjoyable and rewarding because of the work, the incredible work that Stan Lee has put out into the world, and that legacy is just something that is really admirable. I just think it's really awesome to have created so much creative, imaginative entertainment and joy, and just he put so much positivity into the world, and I just think that's fantastic. I just had to mention something about it. So this is episode 19 of the Rehash. I'm gonna sort of cap this as season 1 of the Rehash. Gonna give it a break for a couple of weeks. Got some new ideas, gonna change up the format a little bit, make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting. We're gonna say goodbye for season 1 of the Rehash. Make sure you don't miss that season 2 of the Rehash when I start it up. Please give me a subscribe, and then you'll see it come up in your feed. So please, it'll be awesome. I'm 30 subscribers away from the big 100 landmark that I'm just so excited to reach. So if you could be one of those 30 people, I'd much appreciate it. But yeah, that's it for today. That's it for Stan Lee. We'll miss you, good sir. Excelsior, and thank you again for your amazing contribution to the world.